Adopt a vibrant and clear delivery that brings the story's imagery to life. The pace should be measured and rhythmic, allowing dramatic moments to land with force and quiet moments to feel intimate. Infuse key phrases with purposeful energy and a hint of steel, reflecting the defiance of the characters. Speak with an authoritative yet personal tone, as if you are a witness to these events, sharing a truth that must be remembered. Imagine you're in a room where no one says what they truly mean. Compliments wear disguises. Doubts hide behind smiles. Promotions are decided long before the interview starts. At first, you think it's unfair. Then you realize it's not just unfair, it's a game you never learned to play. You've worked hard, kept your head down, told the truth, and trusted people to see your intentions. But power doesn't move toward honesty by default. It moves toward gravity. It bends toward the person who reads the room faster than the room reads them. One day, you watch someone less experienced glide into an opportunity that should have been yours. They didn't work harder. They showed up differently. In that moment, your frustration becomes a mirror, not to shame you, but to wake you. You're not weak, you're underinformed. The economy of power rewards people who can see the currents under the surface, who can adjust their sail before the wind changes, who can choose when to be visible and when to vanish. And if you've ever felt invisible or too loud or misunderstood, there's a new way to move, not by becoming cunning in a cruel way, but by becoming clear, poised, and precise. Today, I'm going to walk you through the invisible architecture behind those rooms, not to manipulate people, but to stop being manipulated by chaos, to claim your agency, to choose your moves, to become calm in spaces that used to make you small. Robert Greene wrote The 48 Laws of Power by studying centuries of history, strategy, and human behavior. His book is not a sermon about morality. It's a field guide to patterns. You'll meet emperors, courtiers, generals, and artists, each revealing a piece of how influence works when stakes are high and masks are on. Some laws sound harsh at first. Some feel counterintuitive. That's because power has its own physics. It ignores our wishes and cares about leverage, perception, and timing. But this is where your transformation begins. When you understand these patterns, you can protect your peace without apologizing for it. You can negotiate without begging. You can lead without shouting. You can advance without burning bridges. And yes, you can set boundaries without guilt. By the end of this conversation, you'll recognize the currents under your own life. Why a conversation derailed even when you were right. Why a promise evaporated after a meeting. Why your brilliance scared someone who could have supported you. I'll show you how to apply key principles from the book in daily life, at work, in relationships, in creative pursuits, so you can move with intention. You will learn how to signal respect upward without shrinking yourself, how to protect your reputation without becoming paranoid, how to speak less but say more, how to be bold without being reckless, and how to step out of the endless loop of proving yourself. This is not about winning at all costs. It's about choosing costs you can live with and gains that serve who you're becoming. Let's start with something that stings. Never outshine the master. In any hierarchy, whether it's your boss, a mentor, or a senior partner, people protect their sense of importance the way the body protects its core temperature. If you make them feel cold, they pull resources away from you. If you make them feel warm, they open doors. In real life, this means your excellent work should illuminate a shared win, not a private triumph. It's not about hiding your talent. It's about framing. You might say, I built this deck using your earlier framework, and it let us capture what the client really cares about. the truth stays intact, the spotlight spreads. The barrier to applying this? Pride. The fear that if you don't claim the credit, you'll vanish. But credit flows to those who become indispensable and safe to celebrate. To practice, try this for a week. When you send an update upward, link your progress to a priority your leader publicly cares about. End with a question that invites them to teach you one level deeper. Ask yourself, whose ego needs warmth for my work to move? How can I be excellent without making anyone feel eclipsed? Conceal your intentions sounds sneaky, but at its heart, it's about protecting fragile plans from premature judgment. Our brains crave certainty, so when you hint at a big idea before it's strong, people poke holes or push you to commit early. Then your options shrink. Concealing your intentions simply means you build in private until your idea can stand on its own legs. In practice, speak in generalities when you're still experimenting. I'm exploring a few directions and will bring a recommendation next week. The emotional barrier is the need to be seen as honest and enthusiastic. You can still be both. Share your values. Hide your drafts. Ask yourself, what am I trying to birth that needs a quiet room? Who deserves the final picture and who only needs headlines? Always say less than necessary is a quiet superpower. The more you talk, the more hooks you give others to pull you off center. Long explanations often signal anxiety, not clarity. In negotiation, silence is not empty, it's leverage. Say the minimum that lands, then wait. People reveal themselves in the space you leave. The barrier is our fear of being misunderstood. But over-explaining rarely fixes misunderstanding, it multiplies it. Try this. The next time you feel compelled to justify your decision, replace the speech with a sentence. This is the direction I'm choosing based on X and Y. I'll share more detail after the first milestone. Notice how your energy consolidates. Ask yourself, where did I recently talk past my power? What would the one-sentence version sound like? Your reputation precedes you like a herald. In an attention economy, people rarely have time to know the full you. They rely on a summary. You can write that summary, or it will be written for you. Keep your reputation clean doesn't mean being perfect. It means choosing a few qualities you want to be known for and acting consistently until the story sticks. Reliable under pressure, discreet with sensitive information, delivers ahead of deadline. When a rumor appears, address it surgically. Don't feed it with outrage. Confirm the truth, correct what's false, and keep working. The barrier here is resentment. You might resent the need to manage perceptions at all, but perception shapes access. You deserve access. Practice by choosing 3 adjectives you want associated with your name. Then ask yourself, weekly, what did I do specifically that would make a neutral observer use those words?
Court attention at all costs isn't an invitation to be noisy. It's a reminder that invisibility starves your work. If people don't notice, they can't reward. There's a graceful way to be seen. Turn your projects into stories with stakes and momentum. Share before and after snapshots. Give your audience a reason to check back. Make the invisible visible. The draft on your desk, the late-night sketch, the messy whiteboard. The barrier is fear of seeming self-promotional. Reframe it. You're promoting the problem you're solving and the value you're delivering. Try a rhythm. One signal of progress each week that aligns with your chosen reputation. Ask yourself, if a stranger followed me for a month, would they know what I'm building and why it matters? Make others come to you by creating magnets, not leashes. When you chase, you lose leverage. When you become a destination, you choose your terms. A magnet could be a resource, a framework, a perspective people need. Perhaps you design a template that saves teams hours, or you host a short Wi-Fi hour where you help people reframe tough problems. The barrier is impatience. We want quick wins, but magnets take a little time to charge. Be consistent. Make it findable. When they come to you, you negotiate from a place of calm. Ask yourself, what repeatable value could I host weekly that pulls the right people toward me? Win through actions, never through argument, demands humility. Being right in words is cheap. Being right in outcomes is power. When facing resistance, ask, what demonstration would resolve this debate? Build a small pilot. Offer a measurable test. When others see work, the argument dissolves. The barrier is ego. We want acknowledgement, but acknowledgement follows results more faithfully than it follows rhetoric. Try this. Turn one debate into a test this week. Define a 14-day experiment with a clear finish line. Ask yourself, what would a skeptic have to see to change their mind? Plan all the way to the end helps you avoid Pyrrhic victories, wins that cost more than they give. Before you accept a role, sign a contract, or launch a campaign, sit quietly and walk the path to its natural endpoints. What follow-on effects does success create? What maintenance does it require? What alliances will you need in month 6 that you can plant in week 1? The barrier is excitement. We rush the start and ignore the middle. So pause, sketch it. If you can't sketch the middle, you're not ready to start. Ask yourself, if this goes well, what new problems will success create, and am I willing to own them? Enter action with boldness is about the psychology of momentum. People follow conviction. Hesitation invites interference. Boldness isn't recklessness, it's committed movement after thoughtful planning. Make a clean ask, state a clear timeline, choose a direction, and step into it fully. The barrier is fear of being wrong, but boldness survives small errors. Timidity dies from them. Try this. In your next proposal, remove the language that hedges your intent. Replace maybe, perhaps, we could with we will. Ask yourself, which decision am I keeping half open to protect my nerves, and what would full commitment look like for 2 weeks? Use absence to increase respect and honor the rhythm of attention. Constant availability flattens your value. Strategic pauses create space for your work to be missed. This isn't playing hard to get in a childish way, it's managing your cycles. After a big delivery, step back, study results, and return with a sharpened contribution. The barrier is anxiety that you'll be forgotten, but scarcity sharpens appetite. Schedule windows when you're deeply available and windows when you're creating. Communicate those boundaries. Ask yourself, where has my constant presence lowered the perceived value of my time? Keep your hands clean acknowledges a simple truth. Blame is sticky. When messy work must be done, difficult feedback, tough restructuring, demanding changes, do it with process and transparency. Use clear criteria. Document decisions. Involve the right stakeholders. Don't outsource cruelty, but do protect the legitimacy of the decision by making it about standards, not whims. The barrier is the desire to be liked, but respect outlasts approval. Ask yourself, how can I raise standards in a way that is fair, documented, and repeatable? Create compelling spectacles sounds theatrical because it is. Humans remember what they feel. A well-chosen moment can compress months of persuasion into minutes of clarity. Launch days, demos, milestones. Turn them into experiences with a clear before and after. The barrier is shyness. We worry about seeming dramatic, but drama is simply concentrated meaning. Choose one event this quarter to elevate. Invite the right people, tell a story with a start, a build, and a reveal. Ask yourself, what single moment would make my project unforgettable to the people who matter? Think as you take on different roles, because identity can be a tool or a trap. In some rooms, you are the strategist, in others, the translator. Sometimes you're the shock absorber who keeps a team steady. Adopting the right role isn't fake, it's focused. The barrier is the fear of being inauthentic. But authenticity isn't saying everything, it's honoring your values while adapting your expression to the moment. Before key meetings, ask, what role does this room need for me to move forward? What version of my strength should I lead with today? Play to people's self-interest, not their mercy. It's not cynicism, it's clarity about how busy minds work. When you pitch an idea, show how it helps their goals, their constraints, their scoreboard. Listen for their pressure points. Frame your request as relief. The barrier is moral fatigue. You want people to care because it's right. Some will. Many won't until right also becomes useful. This week, rewrite one request to highlight clear gains for the other side. Ask yourself, if I were them, what problem would I be desperate to solve? Make your accomplishments seem effortless isn't about hiding work, it's about hiding friction. People are drawn to flow. They trust competence that looks unforced. Practice until the movement is smooth, then let the audience meet the result, not the grind. The barrier is the desire for applause for how hard it was. Keep those stories for your closest circle. In public, let ease become your signature. Ask yourself, where can I simplify the reveal so that the value reads as obvious and natural?
Master the art of timing, because being early can look wrong, and being right too late is still wrong. Watch the cycles in your environment. When leaders make decisions, when budgets free up, when attention peaks and fades. Align your proposals with those tides. The barrier is impatience or passivity. We either rush or drift. Replace both with rhythm. Set reminders that align your asks with the calendar of power around you. Ask yourself, what season is my organization in right now, and how can I sync my pitch with its heartbeat? Disarm with generosity. When tension rises, a small, sincere favor can reset the field. It interrupts the script of conflict. Offer help that matters to them, not to you. The barrier is pride. We don't want to give first. But generosity is a lever, not a loss. Practice by noticing one person whose workload is public and heavy. Offer a precise assist. Ask yourself, who would be surprised to receive something useful from me this week, and what would that be? Avoid stepping into a great person's shoes without a plan to differentiate. Successors are judged against ghosts. If you inherit a role, change the frame. Keep the best of what worked, then add a signature that's unmistakably yours. A reporting cadence, a cultural ritual, a new metric that spotlights progress. The barrier is compliance. You want to preserve everything to be safe, but safety looks like sameness, and sameness looks like decline. Ask yourself, what two elements of this legacy should I honor, and what one signature will make this era mine? Do not commit to anyone too quickly applies beyond romance. Early in a negotiation or career move, protect your optionality. Show interest without surrendering leverage. Learn the board. Gather data. When you do commit, do it fully. The barrier is the urge to end uncertainty fast. Sit with it a little longer than is comfortable. Ask yourself, what information would make my choice obvious? And how can I get it within 2 weeks? Keep others dependent on you doesn't mean trapping people. It means building unique value so that collaboration with you is the obvious choice. Specialize in a difficult intersection. Become the person who can connect departments, translate jargon, or calm tense rooms. The barrier is the temptation to be good at everything and great at nothing. Choose an edge. Ask yourself, what intersection of skills do I naturally enjoy that few people are investing in? Use the surrender tactic when force would break you. There are moments when stubborn resistance feeds your opponent and drains you. Strategic retreat buys time and preserves resources. Say, you're right, let's test your approach for 2 weeks. In those 2 weeks, you learn, regroup, and prepare a better path. The barrier is pride. Surrender feels like humiliation, but tactical humility is not defeat. It's a position you choose to gain perspective. Ask yourself, where am I pushing against a wall that could be a door if I stepped back? Discover each person's thumbscrew, their motivations, and lead with empathy. People are moved by status, security, autonomy, belonging, mastery. Learn which matters most to them. Make your asks in the language of that need. The barrier is projection. We assume they want what we want. Practice by listening for verbs they repeat: protect, grow, lead, innovate, stabilize. Ask yourself, if I were writing their secret job description, what would the top line be? Do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation kills information. Power depends on accurate maps, and accurate maps come from contact. Stay in conversation with reality. Make a habit of short walks with people on different floors of the building, literal or metaphorical. The barrier is fear of distraction or betrayal, but a smart network is a risk buffer. Ask yourself, who knows something about our current reality that I don't, and how can I learn from them this week? Be unpredictable enough to keep people alert, but not chaotic enough to lose trust. Ritual creates safety. Surprise creates focus. If your style is always compliant, surprise with boldness. If you're always bold, surprise with restraint. The barrier is the comfort of habit. Try small inversions. Ask yourself, what one move would pleasantly unsettle expectations and earn attention without threatening trust? Crush your enemy totally is the harshest sounding law, but here's the humane translation for daily life. Close loops cleanly. If you end a partnership, make the terms final. If you stop a habit, remove triggers and access points. Half measures keep conflicts smoldering. The barrier is our fear of being decisive. We want to keep doors open, but lingering hostility drains energy. Decide. Document. Deliver the terms with clarity and calm. Ask yourself, what recurring stressor am I tolerating that needs a clean, final boundary? Recreate yourself speaks to your evolution. You are not obligated to remain the person that earlier relationships expect you to be. Curate your narrative. Invest in the skills that align with who you are now, not who you were. The barrier is nostalgia and the guilt of outgrowing rooms. You can honor your past while designing your future. Ask yourself, what part of my identity is a costume I've outworn, and what updated uniform would fit the work I want to do? Avoid the unhappy and unlucky, not because you lack compassion, but because moods are contagious and patterns are sticky. Stay kind, yes, but set limits with people whose storms soak you daily. Offer help once, maybe twice. Avoid making rescue your identity. The barrier is savior syndrome. Remember, your oxygen mask first. Ask yourself, who consistently drains my focus, and what boundary or distance would protect us both? Make your moves through the hearts of others. Data convinces. Emotion commits. Before big asks, attune yourself to the emotional weather. Lower your voice. Match their pace. Name the fear in the room without blaming anyone. The barrier is impatience with feelings, but feelings are signals. Honoring them accelerates decisions. Ask yourself, what fear is sabotaging this conversation, and how can I surface it gently so we can move? Assume everyone is watching how you treat those with less power. If you build a reputation for punching down, doors will close quietly in rooms you'll never see. Treat the assistant with the same respect you give the executive. The barrier is stress. Under pressure, we leak our worst habits. Practice recovery. When you slip, apologize fast and cleanly. Ask yourself, what would a video of my last tough day reveal about my character
And what will I improve tomorrow?
Combine compatible laws into a rhythm you can live. For example, plan all the way to the end pairs with interaction with boldness. Conceal intentions pairs with win through actions. Court attention pairs with make accomplishments effortless. One anchors, the other accelerates. The barrier is trying to apply everything at once. Start with 3. Build a cadence. Ask yourself each Sunday, which 3 moves will I practice this week, and how will I measure them? Let's make this practical across contexts. At work, choose a sponsoring leader to warm, a reputation to cultivate, a magnet to build, and a single spectacle to stage this quarter. In relationships, say less than necessary in conflict, surrender when stubbornness would scorch the earth, and protect your identity by curating the role you play rather than performing on command. In creative life, conceal early drafts, court attention with a narrative arc, and time your releases to when your audience is most awake. In self-leadership, plan to the end of your week before it begins. Move boldly through your top 3 priorities and create absence by protecting deep work windows. If fear still lingers, let me say this gently. Power is not a costume for villains. It's a posture of calm responsibility. It means you know where your yes goes and where your no sits. It means you can enter rooms that once made your throat tighten and breathe evenly. It means you can praise without shrinking, disagree without humiliating, and walk away without theatrics. You won't always get it right, neither do I, but you can become the kind of person who recovers fast, learns quickly, and chooses wisely. Here's a personal confession disguised as a story. There was a season when I worked late every night, convinced that excellence alone would pull me forward. I had the facts, the models, the diligence. What I didn't have was fluency in the currents around me. In one meeting, I presented a plan that would save money and time. It was airtight. It was also a spotlight on me. The leader in the room had introduced a different plan the week before. My brilliance made their idea look small. The room chilled and the project stalled. I left frustrated and a little righteous. Later, a mentor sat me down and asked a question that reopened the world. Do you want to be right or do you want to be effective? That week, I rewrote the plan. I linked it to the leader's stated priorities. I gave them authorship where it was true. I said less. I asked more. The project moved. We won the result I wanted, and everyone's face stayed warm. I didn't betray my integrity. I learned how to carry it differently. That moment changed me. It taught me that power isn't loud and it isn't cruel. It's the art of aligning truth with timing and value with visibility. So here's my challenge to you. Beginning today, choose one principle to practice for the next 7 days. Maybe you pick say less than necessary and watch how meetings shift when your words carry weight. Maybe you pick plan to the end and map your week before Monday ends. Maybe you choose court attention with a single visible signal of progress every Friday at noon. Tell one person you trust which move you're practicing and ask them to hold you to it. Keep a small notebook or a note on your phone. Each day, write the moment you used your move, how it felt, and what changed. At the end of the week, review. What did your nervous system learn? Where did you feel resistance? What would a second week unlock? Power compounds with repetition. Let this be your first deposit. As we close, remember this image. You are a lighthouse, not a megaphone. You don't need to shout to be seen. You need to stand where ships can find you and keep your light steady. The winds will change, the tides will test you, but if you learn the currents, the laws that shape attention, trust, and timing, you will stop fighting the ocean and start using it. Power is not about dominating people. It's about dominion over your own reactivity. It's about making the rooms you enter a little clearer and the decisions you make a little braver. The takeaway I want to leave with you is simple enough to write on your wall. Move with intention, not impulse. With rhythm, not noise. With courage, not theater. Start with one move. Practice it until it feels like breath. Then add another. You won't become someone else. You'll become someone more fully yourself. Steady, strategic, and quietly undeniable.